Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you for giving us the opportunity to speak with you, get to know you, and discuss a little bit this afternoon, or this morning rather, about integration and about our solution. If you're in this meeting today, you probably are wondering a little bit about, not wondering, but you're probably a little bit curious about integration in many levels, what platforms are in there, what solutions are out there. Do you want to learn how to maybe solve a particular integration problem? I would even say that you probably either lost a job or you want to win a job, and I mean to say a bid that is requiring some kind of integration platform that may be able to integrate different brands and different subsystems. So we're going to talk a little bit about that as well. Or maybe you have had a bad experience in the past with other platforms. We're not going to name them right now, but other platforms out there. They probably did not work for you or for your client in many ways. And so first of all, I am Alfredo Galtarosa. I'm in the Washington, D.C. metro area here in the United States. I am the director of marketing and strategy for VA Control Group, Arquero being one of the products that we have in the United States. And let me begin by just saying a couple of things. What is Arquero? Let me move my slide really quick. Arquero is basically a integration platform, but it goes beyond that, but we're going to begin with that concept. It's an integration platform that actually began as a PSIM, as a physical security information manager. And most of you, I would say, are familiar with that term, have been working with a platform with a PSIM before. And so basically, we began as a physical security information manager. Today, we are a little bit more than that because our platform actually can integrate software, can integrate many communication protocols that we're going to see in a minute. Now, let's begin with that idea. Arquero is an integration platform, but let me also talk to you a little bit about where we are. Arquero handles about one of the major accounts in the world is called Telefonica, and some of you may be already familiar with that brand, Telefonica, that company. Telefonica is sort of like the AT&T or the Verizon for Europe and South America. And Telefonica can handle 14 countries with maybe 100, 150 buildings, which each of them contain different brands of CCTV, different brands of access control, different brand of point of sale, different brands of intrusion alarm, fire systems, and many more, many more other subsystems like that. And that is being controlled and administrated from Spain, Madrid, Spain, from what they call Ciudad Telefónica, which is a big security control center. And from that area, they can pretty much go into Lima, Peru, or Mexico, or I don't know, Bolivia, and click on a building, click on a camera, and basically administrate the whole security infrastructure. Okay. We also are in DHL Mexico, and now we're going into DHL worldwide. We will talk about it a little bit. And so I wanted to give you a little bit of background as to where we are and what kind of solutions we bring. Now, Arquero is basically a platform in which you can bring different subsystems: CCTV, access control system, intrusion detection system, building automation, fire detection system, software applications, time and attendance, public addressing system, Internet of Things, intercom, and telephony system. So pretty much everything that EPCON sells, all the different solutions that EPCON provide to you as an integrator, Arquero can integrate it under one platform. So now you don't need to have 5, 6 different computers. You don't need to train your staff into, 5 or 6 different softwares and subsystems. Now you can administrate and control everything under one, and you can provide that solution to your client. And so your client may have only one training. Your client may only have basically one server or one computer, one video wall, etc. Okay, so basically centralize any subsystems into one. Now we're going to talk about pretty much. Let's say you have, and this is what we call true integration. We basically call ourselves integrators. We talk about the fact that we're capable of integrating systems, but unfortunately, in the past, we haven't been able to connect all the systems into one and create a true integration that we can provide to your clients. Today, you can do it with Arquero without regard of the brands, without regard of the communication protocols, or whatever manufacturer there is. Okay, and so we can work in small projects all the way to campuses, universities, hospitals, schools, government buildings, et cetera, et cetera. I just mentioned to you all the client Telefonica, DHL. In Europe, we are in a Corte Inglés, which is a pretty famous, sort of like a Macy's type of stores in Europe. We're in about 1,000 of those or more. And so, like I mentioned to you, Arquero allows us to go from the general to the particular. Arquero allows us to go from the state, from the country to the state, to the campus, to the building, to the door, to the camera, to the sensor. Arquero basically integrates sensors. Call it a CCTV camera or an access control camera or a fire sensor or intrusion detection sensor. We integrate sensors, but we also integrate software, right? So we integrate Milestone, DG4, Height Central, any software. So we integrate even softwares that are related to labor management, payroll, those type of things. HR software that allows us to understand who walked that door and get all the background coming from HR and determine the assistant of that particular employee. Or we can also do, obviously, time and attendance. We can also do, Arquero has a visitor center, which is, not a visitor center, a visitor module, which also can integrate as a software, right? So the good news is this: we go beyond the sensor, but we also integrate software. But if there is a particular software that or manufacturer that it is important for you to integrate into our platform in order to accomplish your goals with integration with your job, we gladly will integrate it via API, via SDKs, at not cost to you or your client. Okay. Obviously, we will need to have a project in order to do so, but that's one of the benefits of working with Arquero. We are very flexible when it comes to things like that. Okay, we will do those type of things. Now, we also integrate Internet of Things, right? What protocols are we talking about? We're talking about Z-Wave, Zigbee, Bluetooth, Wi-Fi, etc. We're going to see it in a minute. So what subsystems Arquero integrate? Pretty much everything that we have discussed so far. Access control, barriers, HVAC, lighting system, building management, lighter system, video walls, fire alarm systems, etc. we will see some of the brands that we have already integrated, but most of the brands that Epcon uses these days are already integrated. And if they're not integrated, we will integrate it with the project. So when it comes to software, we already discussed that, right? DG4, Milestone, Active Directory, X509 certificates, database, whatever database it is in the market today, we can integrate those as well, which is one of the ways to do a lot of integration these days through the database. What communication protocol, and this is very important, what communication protocols Arquero handles? Communications protocols such as BACnet, Cloud Data, Contact ID, Modbus, RTSP, et cetera, right? So most of these protocols, you will find it in fire systems, alarm systems, intrusion systems, even access control systems. So we can also, if we don't get the SDKs for those particular brands or subsystems in which we cannot get the SDKs directly from the manufacturer, we can also communicate using this type of communication protocols. We talked about the Internet of Things, and here are some of the brands that are already integrated, meaning if you have a job or if you have a project tomorrow, we can immediately basically do almost a plug and play. We would have to do a little bit of implementation, but these brands are, and we have about 150 total. So this is not necessarily complete, but you know, all the Epcon brands are integrated. The Honeywell, the Hikvisions, the Bosch, the Hawa, the Dahua, the Axis, et cetera, Pelco, Samsung, et cetera. Now let me pay a close attention to these brands in general, and we're going to look at access control in a second. One of the advantages of using Arquero as the integration platform for all your jobs is that Arquero now allows you to get into a project in which you don't necessarily have to change all the different subsystems, right? And we have found many of those circumstances in which the client may not necessarily have the full budget to change the entire CCTV system or the entire access control systems, right? Well, now you can get into one of these projects and maybe bid half of those, or maybe bid access control, but not necessarily a CCTV because your client may not necessarily have the budget. Well, now you can integrate everything. We don't care what brands they are. We don't care if you're using Suprema for access control or Salto for access control. We can have both. We can have 4 under brands under Arquero. We can have 4 or 5 different CCTV brands under Arquero, and Arquero basically views all that. Or you can have 2 or 3 different video analytics applications that could have come from DG4, it could have come from Milestone, it could have come from other brand under one platform, which is Arquero. Okay, so that is in my opinion a very important benefit, because it gives you a what we call a sustainable competitive advantage. So it gives you that advantage that not everyone has. You can actually walk into that bid, walk into that job, and win it only because of the flexibility that Arquero gives you when it comes to integration. Okay, we can take a look at the access control systems. We have many brands, not just these, but if you're working on a particular project that would require that particular manufacturer to be integrated, we can do that at not cost to you. Okay, obviously we will need to have a project signed in order to move forward, but we have license plate recognition, you know, fire systems, etc. So I want to go over a little bit of what I said before. When we say only one access control system, only one visitor manager, one time and attendance manager, and one database for the total access control integration, what we mean is that, like I said, now you can either create a proposal, or you can get into a project in which you may have 1, 2, 6 different access control systems that they don't talk to each other, but now they will through Arquero. And therefore you will have to, or we will with you, train the staff to understand only one software and one platform. They don't have to be trained on 4 or 5 different access control systems. It's just going to be one. Arquero is on top of all of them and will administrate and control the entire access control subsystem as if it were one. Okay. And so that is one of the advantage of working with Arquero as an integration platform. And on top of that, the same thing works for, let's say, biometrics, analytics, if it's CCTV, right? Etc. So here is a quick example of what the video wall or the dashboard looks like. Now, Arquero doesn't necessarily have a dedicated dashboard that will fit everybody. As a matter of fact, Arquero's dashboard is very flexible. You drop into your video wall or your computer screen whatever that you feel your operation requires to monitor every day. And so one of the components is definitely an alarm reception center. So you want to see all the alarms that happen in your physical infrastructure in one place. You may want to look at your cameras. You may want to look at your synoptics with all your icons for all the different devices that you have to administrate. You may want to look at the module for access control because your operation may require to have a direct action with the employees. You may want to have a visitor module, right? And so you will create your video wall and your dashboards to whatever works for your own operation. Now, your dashboard would look exactly as you want with the credentials that you own. If I go in as a security associate, and when I log in, my dashboard will look exactly as designed for my position and what I need to take care of. If I'm a garage attendant, I'm just going to look at the cameras from the garage operation. I'm just going to look at the visitor module, and I'm going to look at the parking module, right? But if you are the general manager for security, then obviously your dashboard would look different. So bottom line is, Arquero allows you to customize your dashboard to what works for you, but also it will be customizable to that particular associate, okay? So you can have 10 different types of dashboards with Arquero. All right, we're gonna pass this for a minute, but another interesting point, and I probably skipped one important part here. Arquero integrates any sensor. We talked about that, and we talked about software as well. Integrating any sensor means that in Arquero's concentrator, you will see a tree of different sensors with an IP address, and I'm going to get a little bit technical here, but I'm trying to get to a point in which we can create, or we can vinculate, we can link all kinds of sensors and behaviors from those sensors to a predetermined alarm, right? And so if somebody's trying to tamper a door, a certain time, or if an event trigger a sensor to communicate with Arquero, we can have immediately all the different devices that are linked to that event to pop up for us or to give us an alert, right? So if we have a particular door or a motion sensor, we have cameras, we have door information, we have, I don't know, all kinds of activities related to what that particular sensor is linked to, okay? So our, we call it the event reception manager. Basically, with one click, you can get all the data and you can get all the context that you need to make your decision, whether it's to act over the event, to call the police, to use the public addressing system, et cetera, right? It's completely bi-directional. So meaning we will get any information from the sensor or the software, and we will also send information to the sensor or the software. Now, we're not going to talk about configuration right now. This is what I try to explain. You got the event notification, all the different devices that are linked to that particular event, and then you can even get step by step your corporate standard operating procedures for that particular event. So that's what I'm saying when we say that you only train your staff or the security staff in only one software, right? Not 6, not 10, only one software. And you may even have already there your standard operating procedures in order to resolve that particular issue. Determine those steps and that action to be taken. Now, Arquero also has a module that we call the virtual operator, right? But what the virtual operator simply is you may be familiar with what a SCADA workflow is. And I mentioned earlier that we communicate with any sensor there is, right? Inside of the physical security infrastructure. Cameras, access control readers, fire detectors, et cetera, et cetera. So if we have direct control on each of these sensors, we can have those sensors to react to an event whatever way we want. And we do that so that there is no human error involved. So simply, if you look at this very easy chart, very easy flow chart, if somebody tamper a door, the system basically says, what time is it? Is it PM? Yes. Then check and state the promises. Arm, give me CCTV, close first door, wait 3 seconds, close second door, activate alarm, send an email. We can pre-program the entire reaction to the event ahead of time. So that the security officer, number one, doesn't have to necessarily overthink it, react in a late, or there is any doubt as to what kind of reaction you need to happen immediately. And so that's what we call our virtual operator. We can do it with basically everything inside the security infrastructure. Now, I want to take it a step further, and I'm going to tell you a piece of information that's very important. Most of our clients are actually winning bids around the world. For instance, the Dominican Republic Metro, Chilean Metro, they're winning bids, they're winning projects because they understand the importance of the fact that we're communicating with any sensors. And so when we say any sensors, we also include those that are related to building management or those that are related to manufacturing. And so, don't just think about security, because part of the security could also be that your client has a warehouse in which the merchandise cannot go below, let's say, 32 degrees. And if the merchandise goes below 32 degrees, you need to be notified right away. Well, Arquero can also do that. So you don't need to have 2, 3, 4 different systems. You only need to have one system, right? So you got your coolers, you got your, I'm sorry, I meant to say your chillers, you got your air conditioning, you got your lighting system, right? And so the occupancy on a building on, let's say, on a Friday afternoon may not necessarily be the same occupancy on a Tuesday afternoon. And so if it's not the same occupancy, the access control system can tell Arquero when to lower or when to, let's say, act on the air conditioning system in order to save money or resources, or can tell where to act on the lighting system for that particular building or warehouse, so that we can also save money in that particular operation, because there are less people on a, I don't know, on a Friday afternoon rather than on the Tuesday, right? So those type of things are, it's one of the benefits that Arquero brings to the operation. So not just security as we think of access control and CCTV. We can go beyond that. Like I said, lighting systems, HVAC, right? We have the chillers, we have the elevators. In a manufacturing environment, it might be that the turbines need to be rotated at a certain speed. And so if those turbines go below certain speed, then it can notify Arquero to do all kinds of things. Just like I showed you in this workflow, it could be that email notifications need to be sent out, SMS, CCTV needs to start recording in high definition, et cetera, et cetera. All right, so Arquero also has a app. Currently, this app is basically an extension of your dashboard. It doesn't necessarily show cameras right now. It will do it in the future, but this is a professional software. Camera should be looked at in a video wall or on a computer rather than in a smartphone. But you can basically arm alarm systems. You can open and close doors. You can get reports right in your smartphone, et cetera, et cetera. You can get notifications if fire. You can use buttons for, you know, a panic button, et cetera, et cetera. We also have, in addition to everything that we talked about, we have a visitor management module. This is very important to understand because, you know, one example is that one of our biggest clients worldwide, DHL, actually use our visitor management module to control the transportation fleet. And so they know exactly when that truck left the warehouse, who is driving that truck, or what time it's supposed to get there, et cetera, along with the GPS system. But they are using this also for that. So it's a very robust visitor management module. We have a time and attendance module, a round patrol module you would expect, and a vehicle management module, which make basically a complete suite when it comes to security platforms. So the benefits is, number one, you have a level of integration that you may not necessarily see in other systems. This is true integration. And I forgot to also mention that we do these integrations via SDKs and via APIs. And so when we talk about a particular camera that we integrate, we are not integrating that camera via OnBeef, for instance. We find OnBeef to be slightly limited. So we go with the software development kit. We go deeper into the actual device, and we allow the operation to have complete control on that particular device, which only allows us to do once we get the SDKs, we write a driver, and that's what the integration we create. So it's true integration, okay? Well, we're not gonna go into more details with regards to, the technical aspect of it. I'd like to ask you all if so far you have any questions, you have a questions that you want me to address. There is a question tab, I believe, in which you can write your questions, or I don't know, Victor, if we're gonna do this via microphone. Are you there?
I'm going to ask for everyone who has any question to send us all your questions through the question panel, the question tab. You have a question tab on the right side of your screen, and you can send us all of your questions so we can answer them with Alfredo. At the moment, we don't have any question, Alfredo, so we can continue.
Very well. So like I mentioned earlier, some of the clients that we have worldwide are Telefonica. We're talking about, well, we actually began with 50 manufacturers. We're over 150 manufacturers so far integrated already. We are in 14 countries in South America and in Europe, Germany and Spain. We have integrated access control, intrusion systems are controlled, CCTV, fire detection, audio, that's a very important aspect of it, and what we call technical signals, which is basically directionals, okay? Telefonica, we do that, like I said, one platform, Arquero, in 14 different countries in the world. We have a Corte Inglés. I mean, this is also very massive, in which we integrate access control, intrusion detection, CCTV, anti-theft systems, time and attendance, visitor management, fire detection, vehicle management. And we're talking about more than 1,000 stores. And these stores are sort of like a combination between Macy's and supermarkets. So this is a big operation, right? Mercadona is sort of like the Walmart. Let's just call it that way. 1,700 stores in Europe, and again, access control, intrusion, CCTV, et cetera, et cetera. So let me go back for a minute. So I don't know, Victor, let me ask you a quick question while we wait for any of the questions that we may have here. Well, actually, Victor may help you all later on if you have a particular question regarding as to how we can access purchase the license basically through EPCOM, right? So Victor is the one who's going to advise us to who is that person in EPCOM.
So if you have any inquiries about our
handle that, but so far, if you have any questions regarding,
I'm sorry, Alfredo. Yes, please send us any questions.
Victor, I couldn't hear you.
Inquiry for Arquero, and we'll be sending all of our contact information as well as the contact information for our engineering team. So they are ready to help you with any project that you may have at the moment, and we can also integrate Arquero into it. So please send us an email if you may have a project coming up, so we can help you directly.
Excellent, and they already have the email. So here's what the next step that I like to do if there's no questions so far. If you have a particular project that you would like to discuss with us, again, just a conversation about maybe how can we help you with a particular bid in which you are, how can you register a particular bid, a particular project, right? Let's look at a demo, right? Let's show you a particular demo for what you're looking for, the project that you're working on. Do contact us. Let's get a one-on-one, a 50-minute one-on-one, so we can help you understand all that. Sorry. And through obviously Victor. And and let's see how can we, provide you with the tools, Arquero being basically the center platform for integration, to see if we can go with you and win those projects. Okay, that's a promise that we as a company do with EPCON. And okay, and so far that's what I have. I don't see any questions so far, but feel free to give us a call, contact us through EPCON, and see if we can answer any of the questions that you may have, give you a demo, go with you to a particular presentation. Okay, Victor.
Thank you so much, Alfredo, for all this amazing information about Arquero. And also, we'll be sending Alfredo's information on the follow-up email. So if you have any questions, please send us an email so we can help you directly. I think we are ready for today. If we do not have any other question, let's wait a little bit if someone may want to ask a question directly to Alfredo. If not, I think now we're ready to end the webinar. We thank you for your time this morning here at EPCON Webinars, and please keep checking our website as well as our social media for the upcoming webinars. Thank you, Mr. Willie. Thank you, everyone, for joining us in this morning. And Alfredo, thank you so much for your time.
Thank you so much. I wish you all a successful week, and please contact us with your questions and projects.
All right. Thank you so much, everyone, and have a great day.